This video will go over the correct answers for today's practice constructed response questions. Make sure you've tried both questions before checking your answers. Don't be intimidated by the look of this first constructed response. Look at each table individually and ask yourself, how do I turn the input number into the output number? If you need to, add a process column using scrap paper or write in on the page. For table A, when you look at the first input, 2, ask yourself, how do you turn it into the number 10? Okay, we multiply 2 times 5. If we try this for the other inputs, 3 times 5 turns it into 15, and 5 times 5 equals 25. So the rule, to get the output, we take the input number, x, and multiply it by 3. For table B, we are given the rule, and we need to take each input and put it into the rule for the x value. 1/2 times 2 is 1, and 1 plus 5 is 6. 1/2 times 3 is 1.5 plus 5 would give us 6.5. Half of 5 is 2.5 plus 5 gives us 7.5. To answer the last part of this question, we want to substitute the number 1 into each of our rules for the variable x. 1 times 3 gives us an output value of 3 for table A. 1/2 of 1 is 0.5, and 0.5 times 5 gives us 5.5 for the output value on table B. The question asks, which of these has the greatest output? So comparing the number 3 to 5.5, we can see that table B has the greatest output. When you're answering a constructed response, remember to answer all of the parts of the problem as best you can. Check to make sure that your function rules or equations work with the data values. We have one class period for the test. You should plan to spend 20 or more minutes on the constructed response questions. In the second constructed response, the key word here is perimeter, the distance all the way around the outside of the figure when you add all of the sides together. When we look at the top and the bottom of each figure, we see 3. These two 3's show up in our process column. The 3 on the top and the 3 on the bottom together add 6 to the perimeter. We can also see this over here when we add 6 to the total perimeters. In the second constructed response, the key word here is perimeter, the distance all the way around the outside of the figure when you add all of the sides together. When we look at the top and the bottom of each figure, we see 3. These two 3's show up in our process column. The 3 on the top and the 3 on the bottom together add 6 to the perimeter. We can also see this over here when we add 6 to the total perimeters. This 6 gets multiplied by the number 1. We also will add in the 2 other edges, 2 plus 2, which add 4 to the perimeter. This process will get repeated for each of the figures. The only number that changes is the figure number. We can see in figure 2, we're multiplying 6 once and 6 twice, plus the 2 ends of 4. For part C, when we look at the completed process column, we can see that the number 6 stays the same, as well as the number 4. Our variable is our figure number, okay, which represents the nth perimeter, okay, any number of figure. Okay. So 6 times our figure number plus 4 gives us the perimeter of any figure that we choose. Part D has us applying our rule with a perimeter of 130. By subtracting 4 and then dividing by 6, we can figure out the figure number. Figure 21 will have a total of 130 for the perimeter. Please continue to review for tomorrow's test by playing the quizzes review. Use the code that's specific to your class period. As you prepare your notebook tonight to be turned in, remember to highlight each of the journal entries. This will make them super easy for me to find as I grade them.